Gentleman from Jefferson, 46.
Thank you, gentlemen from Jefferson. Can I speak on the bill, please?
Yes, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had a speech prepared today. I prepared that speech in 2017 when I came down here. This is a very, very important issue to me. And it's going to be very, very difficult for me to talk today. I'm not going to give you that speech. I'm just going to talk from the heart. In 1993, I was involved in an accident and was forced to fight for my life. And I made it, and there was a gentleman who, he was a good one-arm golfer. And he came to my hospital bed, and he saved my life. Before I walked on this floor today, I got a text, and he passed away. So this is going to be a very difficult speech for me today, but I have to give it. So please bear with me if I fight through emotions. This gentleman saved my life because he introduced me to disabled golf. That was what I needed to build self-confidence and self-pride that my life wasn't over, that my new life has just begun, which is exactly what he told me. And he told me not to focus on what I couldn't do, but focus on what I can do. And that was just greatest advice in the world for anybody in here. So he introduced me to disabled golf, and I went around the country and I played disabled golf. It was awesome. I met the greatest people in the world that overcome their obstacles, all kinds of disabilities. And I got heavily involved with that sport and have been heavily involved for over 25 years, still am. But when I went around to these golf tournaments, there was something very similar to, I played along amputees and people with spinal cord injuries, call it brachial plexus, where they may have an arm, but no real use out of it. Well, the amputees and these spinal cord injury patients had a similar challenge. It's chronic nerve pain. In every one of those lives, golf affected them like it did me. It gave them something, a real sense of usefulness and credibility, and that motivation that tells you that your life's not over, you can still do great things, you can still inspire a lot of people. And I love that organization because of that. But they had to overcome their pain to be able to participate in the sport. And there's one thing most of them had. You know, there were all kinds of different levels of pain. Some of them didn't require treatment. I was fortunate. I have issues myself, have for a long time, but they haven't been so substantial that I needed medication on an everyday use yet. But everybody had these little pills in their golf bags, these little pill bottles, and they were full of pills. That's what they gave to us in the 1990s. And I met so many really, really good friends and good people, and something started happening. People started disappearing from the golf tournaments, small numbers, but and you would ask, what happened to so-and-so, what happened to so-and-so, why aren't they coming anymore? A lot of times nobody knew. Sometimes they'd say, well, you know, so-and-so went through this, and they went through this, and just terrible stories, which I won't get into. I would later come to find out it's opioid addiction. I stand here today saying that was an FDA-approved drug, by the way. It was probably the most terrible decision by the American medical industry to treat long-term chronic pain in that fashion. And now we're dealing with it. And we will be dealing with this for a long time in all of our communities. We all know that. What I'm getting to is there were a lot of success stories in the early 2000s, middle 2000s. People started coming back and they told stories of their battles and some of the things. Happy. They were back with their family, in their jobs, and they were productive citizens, and they were playing golf again. And I asked, you know, what is it? What is it? Well, marijuana programs. Doctor, I'm no pharmacist. I don't know. But I do know this. I know a lot of people that use it. And I'm talking about people that are very successful people. When I started working on this piece of legislation with the gentleman from Fleming, I learned a lot more about it. And people came from all different directions to tell me that they use it and they use it illegally and nobody knows. I was blown away by how many people came and shared that private information with me. And they say, please, whatever you do, keep working on what you're doing. Do something for us. So I'm not going to talk much longer about this. All I'm going to say is that of all these people that I know that used it, I haven't heard any deaths or any horrific health problems from this. I can't say that about that FDA drug that they gave us because I did know a few of those. So, like any drug, like any medicine, it works for some others, it may not be the best thing. But let's let the patient and their caregiver make that decision. I think they're capable of doing that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.